All right, welcome to YouTube Yeshiva, Moed Katan Daf Yutet, number 19. I have been given the privilege to say the Shir, the Chiddush, for the second day in a row. I don't know, it's going to be kind of hard to find people. I'm probably just the only one that can come up with Chiddushim very quickly on the spot. People take many weeks, even V'Ragabanim take many weeks and many years to develop their Chiddushim. For me, it's not so complicated because I learned really hard for many years, it's true. Okay, so today's topic is Miktzat Hayom Kekullo. What is the meaning of Miktzat Hayom Kekullo? I want to start off with a chakira, as they call them in yeshivas, two different ways of looking at something. Miktzat Hayom Kekullo. What does it mean, Miktzat Hayom Kekullo? Does Miktzat Hayom Kekullo mean that, let's say, the seventh day of Avelis, once part of the day, like the Menachmen leave, the mourners leave, the comforters leave, so then part of the day is like the whole day. It's like you just need 6 full days and part of a 7th day, and that's it. Or do you say no, that Miktzat Yom Kekula means part of the 7th day is counted as a full 7th day? It doesn't mean that the restrictions fall off right away. It just means that in Cheshbon, it's counted as a 7th day. What's the nafkamina between this? The nafkamina between this, we have a number of problems. One problem I pointed out is that Abaye seems to hold that the Rabbanan do hold a Miktzat Hayom Kekula. By Yom Shloshim, by Shiva, they don't have Miktzat Hayom Kekula. So how could the Rabbanan sometimes say Miktzat Hayom Kekula and sometimes not say Miktzat Hayom Kekula? Either you hold it or you don't. Like Gemara said before, on the top of your Teramad base, Gemara says a machlokes. If the 7th day of Avelos was Shabbos, so then Abba Shol says that you can even shave on the 6th day, but the machlokes is, what about the Rabbanan or Moda, that if Shabbos is the 8th day, so then you can even take a haircut on the 7th day? How could that, if they don't hold the Miktzat Yom Kekula, right? For example, Abba Shol says that if the 7th day, once you have seven days, so then it knocks out also Shiva and also Shloshim. What's the explanation the Gemara says? Because Abba Shol holds Miktzat Hayom Kekula. And Miktzat Hayom, all Lakan. The first half of the day, the first part of the day counts as part of the Shiva. Second part of the day already counts as the 8th day. So therefore, you already had 8 days before the Shloshim, so it knocks off both the Shiva and the Shloshim, the Regel. The Rabbanan don't subscribe to that, but they are Moda. In a case where the 8th day is Shabbos, then it already counts as 8 days already passed, and it knocks off Shloshim. So they seemingly do hold Miktzat Hayom Kekula, and you're even allowed to shave on the 7th day. To this, I want to say like this, that there's 2 aspects to Shiva and Shloshim. One aspect is the minyan, counting of 7 and 30 days, and the second aspect of Shiva and Shloshim is the actual Isurim, the Hanahagos of Avelos. You're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to wash yourself, take a bath for 7 days. You're not allowed to cut your hair for 30 days. Those are Hanahagos of Avelos, Kfias Hamita. We'll see other things. Nilas Hasandal also 7 days. You're not allowed to do these things. So, when it comes to Miktzat Yom Kekula, there could really be 2 ways of looking at it. The Rabbanan, when it says the Rabbanan are Moda, Abaye says the Rabbanan are Moda, Miktzat Yom Kekula, they hold that when it comes to the Hanhagos of Avelos, which is Hanhagos of Avelos, that potentially could part of the day, Abaye says part of the day, once part of the day is over, you're already allowed to shave, because they hold Miktzat Yom Kekula technically would apply, but the Hanhagos of Avelos are really dependent on the minyan, on counting of 30 days. So it comes out like this, that the Gemara in Yadalim and the Beis says that explains the reasoning for this Mishnah on Yotet. The reason for the Mishnah is that Lo Asi Essay the Yachid Mavatel Essay the Rabbim. There's a mitzvah of Simchas HaRegel which applies to everybody. Avelis is a mitzvah Yachid, so therefore it cuts it off. The Regel, the Simchas HaRegel, cuts off the Avelis. Now, what does it mean Avelis is a mitzvah of the Yachid? Simchas HaRegel applies to everybody. Avelis is also a mitzvah which applies to everybody. But Avelis is a mitzvah which applies to everybody. But when it comes to so I want to say that there's two aspects to Avelis. Avelis and Hagos technically apply to everybody. But in terms of the minyan, we know from Nida, Safra law, that counting is something which pertains to an individual person. All the Gemara meant to say over there is that the actual counting is a mitzvah de yachid. Avelis is something which applies, right now it only applies to a yachid. First of all, how does it apply to yachid? It applies to many people, like many relatives. It doesn't mean that Anhagas Avelis apply to many people. The minyan doesn't apply to many people. It just means that it's a personal obligation. For a personal obligation to count, the Nida herself is supposed to count. You're supposed to count yourself. But they're dependent on each other. The Hanagas Avelis, when there's no minyan, when the minyan is cut off, so the Avelis goes away also. That's why when the regal comes, so it cuts off the minyan shiva. So therefore, the Hanhagos don't apply. The Hanhagos are cut off also because they're dependent on the minyan. The nafkamina being this first case over here, right? That Abba Shaul considers if the regal falls out, if 7 days come before exactly 7 days, and then the regal, so Abba Shaul says Mona is Shiva and Shmona, right? Ola Lakan, because he holds the mixes Yom Kekulo. Abba Shaul holds mixes Yom Kekulo even applies, his definition of mixes Yom Kekulo is that even applies for a minyan. That's his chiddush. That even, of course, that part of the seventh day, the Hanhagos go away, but also the mixes Yom Kekulo, not only does it mean that part of the day the Hanhagos go away, but also that in terms of the minyan, it's a big chiddush that part of the seventh day is already counted as a full seventh day. In terms of the minyan, that's a chiddush. He holds two din. He holds of both sides of mixed Yom Kekulo. Not only just in terms of the Hanhagos, which is a lesser chiyuv, but also the minyan, which is a personal chiyuv. There he holds is nechshav, like a whole day. So therefore, once part of the seventh day passes, it already counts as a seventh day, which Rabbanan don't hold of. And then the rest of the day it counts as the eighth day. That's what he's able to hold of. The Rabbanan are not moed on that, but when it comes to Shloshim, end of Shloshim, so therefore they would hold that part of the Avelis is over, so therefore Anhagos don't apply anymore. It could be that the reason by Shloshim they admit, you should say what? There's also a minyan over there, because the minyan only applies for 7 days. The minyan of Avelis is only a din of 7 days. There's no minyan for Shloshim days. 30 days we learn of Exera Shava from Nazir. It's not really a din of Avelis, it's just Exera Shava. So the minyan of Avelis is only a din of Shiva, and that's why he is moda by Shloshim, because their moda mixes Yom Kekulo, the Hanhagos don't apply. When part of the day is over, the Hanhagos don't apply, and because there's no minyan for Shloshim, so therefore you're allowed to take a bath, you're allowed to shave once part of the day is over. When it comes to the minyan, which is a minyan of 7 days, so there, the Rabbanan would say, we don't hold of mixes Yom Kekulo, but when it comes to Abba Shaul would say that mixes Yom Kekulo, he holds of both in a mixes Yom Kekulo, even that it's nechshav as a whole day. That will be the kira for today. I hope you enjoy it. See you tomorrow. Bye.